Quentin Smith, the Smith family's cleaner, failed to get my DNA. Back home, I found evidence of intrusion. Nothing was missing, but my water glass and trash had been touched. The school run with Tanya was laced with sarcasm. Cherry's worry about Mia, a subtle undercurrent. I headed to the university for a pre-op meeting, only to be confronted by an excited and territorial Tina York. Tina, oblivious to my real purpose, accused me of seeking attention and blocked my way. Staring at Tina, Nora's mind raced. Who wanted her DNA and why? Could she protect Cherry? Was her mother's fear now her own reality? And what truly awaited her at this meeting? The last time? I echoed, a faint amusement coloring my tone. Honestly, operating on Mrs. Hunt felt like a lifetime ago, a minor footnote in my rather extensive medical history. Tina frowned, her self-importance radiating off her in waves. Watching Athena perform surgery is an invaluable learning experience. Every observer gleans something unique. It's only right that as many people as possible have that opportunity. Insisting on always being in the room, taking up a spot? It's rather selfish, don't you think? Michael Lang, a doctoral student and Director Shaw's prized protege, approached us. "Director Shaw asked me to escort you in, Miss Smith," he said. When we entered the conference room, Director Shaw was engrossed in a consultation with a panel of experts. Doctors of Tina's level were relegated to the back, silent observers. However, the moment I stepped into the room, Director Shaw's head snapped up. "Ah, Miss Smith, you're here." He even made a move as if to offer me his seat at the head of the table. "It's fine, Director." I pulled up the nearest empty chair, settling down behind the group. Tina, relegated to the back with the other postgraduate students, shot a disdainful glance at my casual seating arrangement. 2 hours later, the team was finalizing the surgical plan. The students, including Tina, remained silent, their heads shaking in deference. Michael cast a quick glance around the room. The other students were diligently taking notes, their pens flying across their notebooks. He thought of his roommate, who had been denied a spot in Athena's surgery due to limited space. Everyone began to disperse, but Director Shaw addressed me directly. "Miss Smith, could you wait for me for a few minutes? I have an important phone consultation, but there's something I need to discuss with you afterward." I nodded. I followed him in, ignoring his pointed rudeness. I settled onto the sofa, my gaze sweeping over the familiar clutter of Director Shaw's workspace. Michael poured me a glass of water, his movements jerky. Then, he sat across from me, his expression a tight knot of disapproval. "I know you have powerful connections, Miss Smith. That's why Dr. Shaw treats you with great respect. However, I'd still advise you to give up on joining the operation." He looked me up and down, his gaze openly critical. My hands were folded in my lap, my posture relaxed, and I hadn't uttered a single word in my own defense. He clearly mistook my composure for arrogance. His frown deepened. "Also, everyone who enters the operating room has to thoroughly memorize the finalized surgical plan. You practically slept through the meeting just now." Surprised by his sudden direct accusation, I retorted, my voice flat. "Who says I didn't commit anything to memory?" It might have sounded arrogant, but it was the simple truth. My memory was efficient, and the act of operating was as ingrained as breathing. Michael's face darkened, his frustration evident. "Don't be so arrogant!" Before Michael could launch another tirade, the office door swung open and Director Shaw hurried in, his expression harried. Frightened, Director Shaw asked, his voice a nervous tremor. "What are you doing, Michael?" Michael rounded on his mentor, his voice tight with indignation. "I really don't understand what her problem is, Director Shaw. She's just some woman. Why are you making so many exceptions for her? Are her connections really that big of a deal?" Director Shaw raised a placating hand, his voice urgent. "What kind of nonsense are you spouting? This isn't about connections." His words only deepened Michael's confusion. "So, you're not going to let her participate in Athena's operation?" "Of course she's participating," Shaw replied, his tone emphatic. Michael's face contorted with fury. "Why? She doesn't have any respect for Athena. Why are you doing this?" Director Shaw rubbed his temples wearily. Then he looked at Michael, his gaze direct and unwavering. "Do you know who she is, Michael?" Michael stared blankly, his frustration warring with a dawning sense of unease. Tina, still lurking near the doorway, leaned forward, her earlier smugness replaced by a flicker of genuine curiosity. Even I, who had been a silent observer to this escalating tension, felt a prickle of anticipation. What was so significant about my identity that it warranted such deference, such unwavering support? And more importantly, how would Michael react when he finally learned the truth? Will Tina get the shock of her life?
Hi, Nora here. If you are wondering what happens next, then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Saving Nora Now with the link in the description.